I designed an automated bunker in Rust that when fully upgraded can withstand 36 to 50 rockets. This bunker utilizes an easy to build free-handed floor stacking design with 3 walls to the core. I also took the time to design a new stability method to ensure that this can be detached from its external TC, and is also designed in a way that it can be built in 3 phases, with the last phase being a fully HQM core. The ring around the core requires an external TC for upkeep, so I'm going to build it off of this external TC that I'm going to turn into a flank base later on. These last 3 triangles will need to be raised, unless they're already high enough that we'll be able to place our freehand triangle in the center. We're basically just creating a big triangle here with a triangle in the middle of it, and we'll be using these 3 triangle foundations pointing inwards to assist us with the freehand part. And once you're done, you should have something that looks like this. We'll hop down in the middle and place this as central as possible. You'll know you've done this part correctly if you break out the 3 corners and are able to build 3 triangles off the one in the center. But if the walls are red, you might have to try it again. This will all be walled off with 1 sheet metaled window, and the rest of it will be HQM. And since the foundations will be so low to the floor, you can leave them as sheet metal as well. Now we can prepare to close this area off by placing our TC in here with a window in front of it. And this can be sheet metal. If your foundations are high enough that people can crawl under them, you'll want them to be upgraded. And then the last step to prevent decay on this base is to build 2 door frames right here with a floor frame, and then we'll need to get a half wall up in between there for stability. Keep in mind, if this half wall is not placed, the connection will not work properly, and if it's not sheet metal or HQM, it's possible that somebody will jackhammer it out, causing it to be detached from the TC, giving it upkeep. The external TC I'm attaching it to will turn into a flank base later on, so I'm just going to build the structure out for that. And all we need is enough stability to build these 2 triangles out, and the third should be able to connect. At this point, both TCs are set up and protected, and the base will not decay. The next step is to wall off the second layer, and we'll be placing a door frame in front of our window, walling off the rest of the base. An optional step is to have a second exit on the other side of the base for a second line of industrial in case somebody decides that they want to break a vending machine and they break your industrial line. It's going to be very difficult to reconnect all of that back up. So you could have a second exit over here ready to reconnect to the core. After you got the walls down and decided if you're going to have 1 or 2 exits, put the ceiling on. And then on each corner, you can build a triangle on the inside, and this is all that we're able to build on the inside. And it's a good spot to have 3 auto turrets. If you still don't have vending machines ready for this part yet, throw some doors down until you do so you don't have grubs hiding inside. The next part is to build triangle roofs around the exterior of the base, leaving space around each door. We'll be building a little bit of honeycomb in front of these doors, which is where we'll place vending machines on each side. And keep in mind, the wall that's going to be on the inside is not reachable if you don't have materials on the inside of the base to upgrade it with once we've got the vending machines down. So the wall to the right of the door should be upgraded to HQM if you have plans on upgrading the entire core later on. And then just place half walls around the triangle on the roof and cover it up. Before we can do anything else, we'll need to set the industrial system up, which, as you can see on screen, is very simple. You just need a bunch of combiners and splitters depending on how far away your base is from the bunker. And it's going to be 3 large boxes in your main base connected to the 7 small ones in the bunker. Something to keep in mind is that the connections in between the lines should be kept in a safe place, because if one of them breaks, you'll need to be able to reconnect it. The splitter and combiner that connect inside the bunker to your external TC out here are going to be the most important ones to hide. As you can see here, they're connected where vending machines are going to go, so if the raiders don't raid these vending machines but this line somehow gets broken, it's going to be almost impossible to reconnect. Which is why earlier there was an optional step to have a second connection that goes inside the bunker. And I do not have this set up right now, as it'll be up to you where you would like this second connection to go to. I would just say don't put it where the first one is. And the reason that we have this second connection on the other side is that if somebody decides they're going to raid through the vending machines, breaks the connection, and doesn't go further into your core, you're not going to be able to reconnect it back to your main base. So we'll have the second one that's already set up into the core that goes through the vending machines and has a second location. And then you'll connect that second location back into the main line that goes to your main base. And another thing to keep in mind when setting up this industrial is that you want to make sure it's not in the way of anything. As you can see here, we can place the floor that we need to, but since we set the industrial up before putting this window down, we'd have to take it apart and put it back together. But now that we've trapped ourselves in here, we can't do that. So you want to be sure that you've got everything in place before you connect the industrial, because we're about to fully seal ourselves in here. So now that we have the industrial set up completely and we just need to put the endpoint inside the bunker here, we can place all of our boxes in a bag down inside. Place adapters on all 6 of these boxes and connect them all up together. And then once you've done that, you can turn around, grab another small box and rotate it twice so that the adapter can be placed in the little corner behind it so that you're not jumping around on it all the time. Plug in the inputs and outputs of the first and last box. I've got the splitter coming into the bunker, and then I've got the combiner going into my main base. Then the industrial is done. You could set up something to automate the TC upkeep, or you could also use the TC as storage. And then we've got our second line above our heads if we ever do need to reconnect that inside the bunker. Since you won't be able to access this part of the bunker, it might be a good idea to get a bag down in here with some materials to seal just in case. You're now good to put your vending machines down, and don't forget about the wall to the right. Upgrade it to HQM if you're going to do that on the second layer, and then honeycomb it off. Get our last vending machine down, and then the foundation beneath us can be removed if you want to, but I like to have it sealed off and place a locker and bed inside of there. The base is now completed, but it is kind of weak until you upgrade it. But this is a good point to leave off to build the rest of your compound. To get our loot inside the bunker, go to the big boxes that we have set up in our main base. And I have bleach set on here so we don't accidentally dump everything into the bunker that we put in those boxes. And you can either select specific things to go into the bunker on the conveyor, or just remove the bleach and everything will move over into the bunker. We've got the same thing set up on the other conveyor, using the bleach to not bring everything over all at once, so you can delete it if that's what you want to do, or set a filter to bring specific things over. When upgrading the base, start from the foundations and then do the honeycombing part on the roof. And don't forget to put upkeep in the external TC that's connected to this exterior part of this base. Then upgrade the triangles around the vending machines and the side with the vending machines on it. You could upgrade it to armored if you wanted to, and you probably should. Upgrade the roofs to sheet metal to pop it open and get in there and upgrade it to armored. If you run out of HQM while you're upgrading the second layer, the roofs will not pop open the other side once you get to the corner, so you can do this one side at a time. Now you've got one hell of an external TC bunker connected to your main base with industrial, protected by auto turrets. And if you want to see some more external TC designs, go check out this playlist.